Today we're going to be planting our garlic, so I'm going to get those bulbs separated. We haven't planted the garlic yet, but I did buy some more garlic because I wanted to make use of the garden space and plant a whole bunch more. So what we did was we went back to the store we originally got some from and stocked up some more. We decided to grow Bavarian Purple Garlic, and we got about 90 cloves worth. I still have to separate some of the cloves. I kind of started with this bag, but I didn't do this bag yet. So we should, if I calculate it right, have about 90 bulbs to plant today. It is the second week of October 10th to be exact. So it's still pretty early in October, but I thought I'd go ahead and plant them now because the weather is cooling down here in Maine, and I was going to plant them way earlier, and I'm glad I didn't because we've had tons of rain and the weather has been kind of up and down. It gets warm, it gets cold. So now I think the temperatures have been dropping enough that we're safe to plant our garlic and it's not going to start sprouting very early. So we're going to plant this and mulch it heavily with grass clippings, and it should be about 90 bulbs altogether. Then we'll see what happens during springtime. We'll see what pops up, and I'll share the progress on that. And then I believe by late summer we should have some garlic ready to harvest, depending. I'm not sure if it'll be late summer or fall time for next year, but that's when we'll be harvesting these. And to get these ready for planting, you really just have to break up the bulbs so you have these individual cloves. I like this garlic because it has a nice little purplish pink color to it. And then when we plant them, we're supposed to plant them just like this. So this part goes down to the ground, and I believe this side gets pointed up so that when it sprouts, it comes up from there. So when you buy seed garlic, it just comes like a whole garlic bulb like that, and you just have to break it apart. Every single clove turns into a garlic plant. Most likely some of them might fail, but we're hoping that a lot of them grow so that we have a good harvest. Alright, got my garlic all separated. I counted them. It was about 85, 86 bulbs. There was a couple like rotten ones. I'm going to round down and just say that we're planting 80 just to be safe, because even some of the ones that were in this bundle kind of looked like they were starting to get maybe moldy. So I'm just going to round down and say that we planted 80. My husband is continuing to till far a bigger area than we need for garlic. We're just going to take a little section of that for garlic. And then I've also ordered some tulips and some other bulb type flowers that we're going to plant that come just kind of similar to how the garlic bulbs are planted, but they'll flower, they'll bloom in, not bloom, but they'll grow in springtime and then bloom shortly after that. So we're going to try some out. Tulips is one of them just because I like tulips, but I know we're going to be fighting the deer for the tulips, so I picked out some other plants that are more deer resistant that also grow in bulb form, and hopefully the deer will kind of leave those alone. But I'm also planting the tulips near the garlic because sometimes deer don't like garlic and onions and plants like that, so I'm trying to interplant them in rows so that the deer kind of stay away from it just from the smell of the garlic. At least that is the plan. We'll see how it works out. And we're also going to be probably keeping the dogs around the garden area when it's that time, when it warms up outside and it's springtime and this stuff is starting to get out and sprout out of the ground. We plan on keeping the dogs around this area, and then also trying the fishing line trick, which is you kind of make like a perimeter fence around where you have things you want to protect from deer and run fishing line around it, because that is supposed to kind of spook the deer if they come near it at nighttime and they don't see the string. Even in daytime you can hardly see fishing line because it's see-through. So the idea is that it's supposed to spook the deer when they feel something on their face and they don't see anything, so it kind of trains them to stay away from that area that's enclosed by fishing line. Not sure if that's gonna work or if we'll eventually have to do what our neighbors have done and install electric fence around their garden. But I think with the combination of just having the dogs around, barking them away, and maybe the fishing line will work, and also planting things that deer don't like around the areas we're planting things that deer do like. So that is our little patch right there that we have been tilling. He's working on that last little strip in the middle, so it could be a huge rectangle that we're going to plant in next year. And we're also going to keep expanding it over here. We have all of this grass to work with, and we even plan on going back there. So my goal eventually is for this whole strip right here to be planting area, but we're working with just a small push tiller for now. So it's going to take a lot of work to just keep it maintained and keep it tilled and keep it weed free. We plan on using a lot of lawn clippings that we've been saving. All these little piles around the grass are lawn clippings that we've been saving from cutting the grass, and we plan on heavily mulching with that to kind of suppress the weeds and just plant as much as possible. Just keep everything compact and tight so that there isn't that much space for weeds. And we plan on cover cropping as well, probably not till next year because this year we're a little bit late on that. But we plan on utilizing cover cropping to prepare our soil for the following year. So this winter we won't be cover cropping, but before next winter we'll grow a nice cover crop, and then the winter will kill it off and our gardens will be even more ready for the next season. But for now, for this year, we're just going to plant the garlic and the tulips and the other bulb flowers. I forgot the names of the ones that I ordered, so once they come and we get them in the ground, I'll update you guys on what it is that we chose. And nothing else will go in the ground besides the flowers and the garlic that we're planting today. That'll be it, and that's all we're gonna do before this winter arrives. But let's go ahead and start getting these in the ground. My son is gonna help us as well, help us get these in the ground. So let's say 80 bulbs, and then we'll see what ends up sprouting next season. See out of these 80 what ended up sprouting, and then we'll continue following and tracking the progress until we harvest our garlic as well, to see what we end up harvesting out of the 80 cloves that went into the ground. We also grabbed some of this fertilizer. I don't think that we're going to need it for our garden plot that we had chosen out, because I feel like our soil is super rich and full of nutrients. Like, it has tons and tons of worms every time that we till. I believe they're red crawlers, or just like these red worms, and some earthworms just come out of there. So I have a feeling that our garden plot that we picked is going to be perfect for vegetables and all the things we plan on planting in there. But just in case it is lacking of anything, we just bought this organic fertilizer that we're going to very lightly sprinkle, because I don't want to overdo it and burn any of this garlic. So just in case the soil is missing anything, this will do the trick. And hopefully our soil is already rich enough. We have some mushrooms growing on this side of the grass, and just like I said, all of the abundance of worms makes me feel like this soil is nutrient dense already as it is. But we will see as we go, and as we plant things and see how they grow, we'll notice what the soil is lacking of. This is what we have tilled so far. I asked my husband to re-till this long line over here. That's where we're going to start planting the garlic, and that way it's freshly tilled and the soil is a little bit softer and fluffier to work with. And like I was mentioning, he just tilled this little patch here, and just look at all the worms that are in here. We have like this patch of area right here, it's not super rocky. We do come across some rocks every now and then that kind of stop the tiller, and we have to toss them to the side. But I just wanted to show you how many worms are here, and I feel like this dirt is of good quality. It's nice and fluffy and soft. There's some little grubs here too. I don't know if those are bad for garlic, but I know the worms have to be good for gardens, and I think that's the reason why our soil is so soft and fluffy in this area. And this area here doesn't hold on to too much water. We have like pockets on our land back on the field that does get squishy when it rains a lot, but it does tend to dry up fast. This area here is well draining. It doesn't hold on to a lot of water, so I think it's going to be perfect for our vegetable garden. And like I said, we'll expand it to this way, expand it to the back if it's not too rocky back there. This is all pretty good. I mean, we find little rocks like this, sometimes bigger ones, and those are okay for a garden. But like when we come across a really big rock, like right here, where you see this little patch of grass, the tiller hit this one, so we marked it with some paint so we don't hit it again. And this area we can't till because the rock is so big. But we've only come across in this whole patch just 2 areas. Here's another one that happened to. This is like a really rocky area right here, and we couldn't till around that spot. But everything else for this whole garden that we have prepared so far, there hasn't been any big problems like that. When my husband cuts the grass in the back, he has hit a couple rocks, and we just did the same thing. We spray painted them with the neon orange so that we can avoid doing that again and not messing up our mower. What we're doing here is laying cardboard and piling up grass clippings again so that eventually it breaks down for more garden space. So we're kind of trying 2 different things, the cardboard method and just straight tilling / cover cropping when the time comes for that. But let's go ahead and get these garlic cloves in the ground. We're going to start with this row. If we need more space, I'll ask him to till another row right next to it. But I think we'll be able to fit the 80 cloves in this row right here. We're going to plant them maybe like this in spacing, 4 to 6 inches in spacing. And if we do end up doing more than 1 row, we're going to space the rows by 1 foot. So no, you don't take any of the paper or the covering off. We're going to plant it like this, with the flat side is going to be down, and this side is where the sprout comes out in the springtime. So this needs to be pointing up. So that's like the butt end, and then this is the top end. And we have to bury them in the ground only like 1 to 2 inches. I would say 2 inches into the hole in the ground. And then we're going to top it off with grass clippings. Minimum like 6 inches of grass clippings is what we're going to mulch this with, because we do have heavy and long winters here in Maine, so we want to protect the garlic. So first, we probably don't even have to dig too far. We'll stick the garlic like that, stick them all in. I think we'll come back and cover all of the dirt, and then we'll come back with mulch. Yeah, that's a good spacing. No, don't cover it yet so we can see. And then at the end we'll cover them all up. Alright, garlic is all in. All we needed was this 1 row for the 80 cloves. Now what we're doing is bringing grass clippings. We're going to try to stack it up about 5 to 6 inches tall, just like that. So that way it's protected from the winter weather and the snow. That grass clippings will eventually break down into dirt as well. I'm not sure, I have to look it up again, if come springtime we're supposed to remove the grass clippings or if the garlic will just grow through it. So if we stack it up too high, the garlic might have trouble growing through the grass clippings, and we might have to kind of open up or remove it altogether. But not sure, maybe the snow will weigh it all down and it won't be such a thick layer for the garlic to poke through. So we'll just kind of eyeball it and see what happens around that time. But I'm going to help him get all this mulched up, and then that'll be it for the garlic. We will come back and check on it in the springtime.